Hey guys, today I wanted to go over some cutting techniques since just about every project you'll ever do begins with cutting something. There's lots of different ways to go about cutting leather, and you might employ one version on a thicker leather and another on a thinner, but we'll go through a variety of them real quick. The most traditional way, and the way that a lot of leather workers will swear by still today, is using what's called a round knife. It's basically just a evenly sharpened crescent that you can use every part of it to cut with. What you basically end up doing is using the more centered part of the blade when doing long straight lines, and then you roll it backwards to the point when you start doing closer curvatures. I like to keep my thumb behind it just so I don't have any chance of slipping toward my hand, and you'll see I rock it backwards as soon as I need to go around a curve. And of course, like with anything knife-wise, you want to make sure to keep your fingers out of the way, because for some strange reason, tools that are designed to cut leather cut human flesh really easily. Surprise, surprise. If you don't want to end up putting a whole bunch of elbow work into cutting, scissors are the easy alternative. These tend to get a little bit harder. The thicker the leather gets, of course, all cutting is pretty much harder the thicker it gets, but as soon as you're getting up to like 10, 12, 14 ounce, you really start working that forearm when you're cutting. But if you're cutting, anything between like 5 and 10 ounce, for me, it's a lot easier to follow a line just using standard old scissors. These are obviously leather shears, not just like paper scissors, because they go through leather pretty easily. They're super sharp, and they come in a couple different versions too. These are ones that you can pick up at Tandy. The blue handled ones have a slightly serrated edge to them, so they go through it even easier. The silver ones there are just super sharp, and they're great for like upholstery leather and some of the thinner leathers. But you can see it doesn't take a whole lot of work. This is 6-7 ounce, so it doesn't take a whole lot of hand action to get through there. If you're trying to get real specific shapes or cutouts that you can't reach with a pair of scissors, and if you're on a budget, just a regular old box cutter will work pretty well for you. One of the upsides is you never end up having to sharpen them, because you just break that blade off every single time it goes dull. But you can follow pretty precise lines this way, even if they're on the inside of something. And it takes a little doing to get everything out, but as you can see, something you can't really do so well with a pair of scissors. Also, even with the round knife, there's a certain amount of three-dimension to the leather, so even if you were trying to get to this point, you would see you dig in some of the round knife, even if you're using the utmost corner of it. If you were trying to cut out that little square, you would end up nicking your leather trying to get to it. Another way of cutting leather, especially if you're doing some thinner stuff, is a rotary cutter. These come in all sorts of different styles, but I pretty much only use them if it's like 5 ounce or below. You really kind of struggle getting it through 5 ounce. But if you're trying to make straight cuts, and especially upholstery leather, a straight edge and a rotary cutter does a great job. So if you're trying to make like straps for D-rings or what have you, that is just quick and easy. Go through a lot of these things. The only downside is that you'll probably go through quite a few of these blades if you're cutting leather with them. I think they're mostly designed for using on a mat for cutting fabric, so you'll get fewer cuts out of leather. They'll dull quite a bit quicker. Most of these processes work pretty well for, like I said, anything below 14 ounce leather, but as soon as you start getting up into the higher thicknesses, leather can go up to 25, 30 ounces if you're getting full cuts of a hefty bowl. So for those cuts, a lot of times you can make multiple passes with a round knife, or you can make multiple passes with a box cutter. You'd be hard pressed to do it with scissors, but if you're not doing something precise, you can just go to a jigsaw, honestly. As long as you've got it supported so it doesn't bounce around that much. Now, if you're using a jigsaw, you want to make sure that you're using a bit that has it's like a metal bit or something with the teeth real close together. And you also want to make sure you have a really sharp bit, because if you have some worn out teeth, it's just going to make the leather move back and forth rather than actually cut it. But yeah, quick and easy. Now, especially if you've water hardened the plates, you know, wet it, heated it up, basically it turns it into almost a texture like wood or a feel like wood. Then trying to cut it with a box cutter or a round knife or something at that point is almost impossible. So you end up with some kind of saw action that you need to get through. So I hope this was helpful. If you learned something new and would like to see more videos like this, make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons. In the next couple of videos, we'll be going through some more tools and some processes like beveling and burnishing and some beginner leatherworking tips and tricks. So hopefully we'll see you there.